So, the argument, the age-old argument, part worn tyres, new tyres. Why wouldn't I go for a part worn? Well, we're gonna talk about it. Let's get the debate settled. Part worns, they're just not safe. Here's why. What we find is the difference between part worn and new tyres is part worn, it's been on something else. It's pre-owned, it's pre-loved. And to be honest, with tyres being the only surface contact between your arse and the road, it ain't really a safe thing, is it? It's a corner that doesn't really need cutting, and we need to sort of like make the awareness around part worn tyres and the lack of safety knowledge that you're putting onto your car a real subject that we're talking about. So there's a lot of arguments always for it, trying to justify why you should save 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 plus pound on a part worn tyre. Now, the simple fact of the matter is, regardless of the cost that you might think you're saving, you don't know what this has come off a lot of the time when you're buying it from someone else. And even if you do know if it's coming from someone else, it's come off a car which handles, has suspension, it has a completely different setup to what you're likely going to put on your vehicle, which makes it a very, very high variable game where if something goes wrong, then you're going to end up in serious trouble. So tyre manufacturers spend absolute millions on developing new tyres purely around the safety of the driver. So when you move over to buying a part worn tyre which is driven on a completely different vehicle and completely different suspension setup, you have just thrown all that development out the window from them tyre manufacturers for the sake of saving a few pounds. Now that can be quite dangerous because the repercussions of such can be a difference between life and death, and that's kind of crazy when you think about it, but it's not really a spoken about thing until it actually happens. And that's not me to say, look man, you're going to die if you buy a part worn. It's just to say that make smarter decisions. Stop cutting corners. This corner don't need cutting. The difference we have, especially with this one, is this is typically a part worn that you would find on the market, which has a nail very close to the shoulder of the tyre. Now, at my garage, we wouldn't deem this as a safe repair. Now, if somebody else would, then that's probably a conversation we want to have for a different day. So many times I see vehicles with tyres coming in just like this, or part worns being sold on the market. They're exactly the same with a nail close to the shoulder, which when this is plugged, patched, or however the company is repairing it, can really compromise the structure of that tyre. And let's be honest, you don't want to do it, mate. Don't do it. Please, for the love of Christ, don't do it. I need you. I need you alive. I'm just tickling the inside of this because I can feel the nail coming through. I'm like, don't know why, it's weird. It's really weird. Don't be so weird, Nathan. You're so weird on these videos. Oh, get out of it. So when we talk about averages, it's really hard because it's so high variable, but the average of a part worn tyre is usually over 50% of the price of a new one, and you usually get half of the tyre. And when I'm saying half the tyre, it's half the tread, half the quality, the age difference between it, because the manufactured age of this particular tyre is usually a lot older than a brand new tyre that's going on. Again, variable, variable, variable. Makes for boring arguments, but I'm not here to get into them. I'm just here to say that my opinion is in the fact that part worns are very dangerous, and there's a lot of variables that aren't being considered when purchasing them, so you should buy new. And probably consider buying a developed new tyre, because budget tyres are made to a budget. We'll do that in another video down the line, but for now, that's great. I appreciate you popping by. You should definitely like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one.